In this lecture, I'm going to introduce the dividend discount model. Let's first revisit our valuation principle. The valuation principle says that the price of a security should be equal to the present value of its expected cash flows. So let me draw a timeline for an investor who is going to buy the stock today at time 0 at the price P0. Okay, so because you need to pay to purchase this stock, I'm going to put a negative sign in front of P0. Then he is going to receive a dividend payment year 1 and another dividend payment at the end of year 2, and at the end of year 3 he's going to receive dividend 3 plus if he's planning to sell his stock at time 3, he is going to receive P3. So P3 is the price immediately after receiving a dividend by investor at the end of year 3. Okay, so based off this timeline, what are the expected cash flow of stock? So there are two types of cash flow that we are expecting to receive. First, dividend payments, and second, if we are planning to sell the stock at a future date, uh, we are going to receive some cash by selling it. So I'm going to write proceeds from selling the stock. Okay. The next thing that we need to know is the appropriate discount rate to discount these expected cash flows to the present time. So let me ask you, can I use the risk-free rate to discount these expected cash flows for stock? The answer is no. These expected cash flows, the future dividend payments, and the stock price at a future date are not known with certainty. They are risky cash flows. But let's say if you own a 3-month treasury bill, you are virtually certain, almost 100% certain about the cash flow that you are going to receive. But in the case of stocks, that's not true. The expected cash flows are risky. So we need to use a proper discount rate to adjust for that risk. Okay? So the appropriate discount rate is called equity cost of capital. So equity cost of capital is the expected rate of return on alternative investment with equivalent risk to the firm's share. Okay. Um, how to come up with an estimate for equity cost of capital? We will learn about that in the chapter 13 when we are going to talk about cost of capital. Okay. So now let's talk about the dividend discount model that uses our valuation principle. So first, uh, let's begin by considering only one period. So What we are doing now is learning about the dividend discount model for a one-year investor. Suppose P0 is the current stock price, okay? And let P1 be the price that the investor is going to sell her shares at the end of year one. And dividend one is the total dividends that the investor is expecting to receive by holding these shares. Okay, so if I want to value this stock for 1 year investor, I can use what we have learned before in chapter 3. So can say the present value of uh, expected cash flows, dividend 1 and P1. I'm going to use RE as the equity cost of capital to discount these future expected cash flows. So what I'm doing is just calculating the present value of these two cash flows. Okay, so if by doing that, I can have a price for stock today. So uh, let me uh, rephrase what I said so far. Uh, by our valuation principle, we should know that the current stock price is equal to the present value of expected future cash flows, which are the dividends that we are going to receive by holding stock and the sale price that if we decide to sell this stock at a future date. So this is the formula that we get for valuing stock at time 0 or today. And again, RE is equity cost of capital, which is the appropriate discount rate to calculate the present value of dividend 1 and price at the end of year 1. Okay, so now we learn how to value the stock. If we want to trade based on this P0, let's say we are very confident about our estimates of dividend 1 and P1. So if we want to trade based on what we calculate as the stock price today, we need to compare P0 with the price that is currently available on the market, or the observed market price. So let me say we have this P0, and I'm going to denote the observed observed price in the market as small p. Okay, so let's say if you want to trade, we need to compare these two values. And let's say if P0 is larger than P, so if we get like P0 as 15, and then the observed price is 12, that means the stock is cheap and we need to buy. We should buy this stock because this stock is currently undervalued in the market. It's cheaper than it should be. On the other hand, if P0 is smaller than small p, the observed price in the market, let's say still we have 15, but the observed price in the market is 20, we should sell this stock because this stock is expensive or it's overvalued. Okay. So if we are trading in the market, it's usually very important for us to know what is the return on our investment. So if I rearrange the equation, this equation, let's call it equation 1. So if I rearrange equation 1, I can get a formula for total return. So if I multiply both sides by 1 plus RE and then divide both sides by P0, and at the end, if I subtract both sides by 1, I would get this formula for total return. So this is our formula for total return, and we can also decompose it to two parts. The first part, we have dividend yield divided by the price at which we bought the stock, P0, that is called dividend yield. Okay, and then uh, the other part, so P1 minus P0 is called capital gain or capital loss. If P1 is larger than P0, we have a capital gain, but if P1 is less than P0, we have a capital loss. But if we divide P1 minus P0 by our initial investment, P0, so P0 is our initial amount of investment. Okay, so that the whole thing would be called capital gain rate. Again, so if I divide P1 minus P by the initial investment or simply P0, that is called capital gain rate. Um, P1 minus P0 by itself is called capital gain or capital loss based on the values of P1 and P0. Okay, so the total return is the summation of dividend yield plus capital gain rate. So now let's solve an example about total return. So in this example, we have Walmart. Walmart is trading at $115 today. So this is the observed market price today. Okay. Suppose that you believe Walmart will be traded at 122.84 cents per share a year from now. So P1 is 122.84. Okay, and it will pay 2.16 uh, dividend in the coming year. So that would be our dividend at the end of year 1, 2.16. And so if investments with equivalent risk to Walmart stock have an expected return of 7%, would you buy or sell Walmart today? So this phrase, the whole phrase says that this 7% is the equity cost of capital. So equity cost of capital is 7%. So if I want to calculate the price, I can simply write the formula P1 plus D1 divided by 1 plus RE. Okay, and the second part of question says calculate the dividend yield, capital gain rate, and the total return. Okay, so here I have wrote the equation from slide 6. So here we calculate the P0 as 116.82 cents. Um, because this number is larger than the price observed today in the market, we should buy Walmart today. Again, the Walmart is trading at $115 today. So based on our calculation and estimation, uh, the Walmart stock price should be higher, but it's currently trading at 115, so it's cheap and it's undervalued. So our decision will be to buy Walmart today. Okay, now let's do the second part of the question, which asks us to calculate the dividend yield, the capital gain rate, and the total return. Okay, so the dividend yield will be div1, the amount of dividend that the firm is going to give us at the end of year one, divided by the current price observed today. So why we are using this 115, not 116.82? Because this is a theoretical price. This $116.82 is a theoretical price that we are calculating, but an investor can go can currently order at $115 and get the Walmart shares at 115. So we want to know what is our actual rate of return, what is our actual dividend yield, our actual capital gain rate. That's why we are using the current price, which is observed at the market. Okay, so if you just divide those tone numbers, you would get 1.8783. And then the same thing for capital gain rate. I'm using the current price, which is observed on the stock market, and I get 6.8174%. So to calculate the total return, we have two ways to do that. Once we calculate the dividend yield and the capital gain rate, we can just sum these two numbers, okay? So um, the total return equals to dividend yield plus capital gain rate. So I'm just going to add these two numbers to get the total return of 8.70%. Uh, I also can use the equation, this part of the equation, to double check my answer. So if I do that, I would have the exact same number as I get uh, above. So I'm going to end this video here. If there anything unclear, please let me know, and you can email me your questions or write questions as a comment below this video.